Welcome back to another episode of Football Talk with Hawk. I am Hawk, and here we go. This is the last time in the 2023 regular season that we get to pick games. Yes, it's 2024. So what? It's the 2023 season. We are going to end it off with a bang. We're going to pick all 16 games straight down the pike. Pick every single one of them, and then we'll chat a little bit afterwards about what we could potentially see Monday morning. So let's get it started right. This weekend, we have a lot of teams that have their position locked in, resting starters. Baltimore is resting Lamar Jackson. This game was split as far as the spread was concerned a lot more. It's now down to 3. It's down to 3, and the Ravens are underdogs. I'm sorry. The Ravens at home. It's still a divisional game. Every player on the Ravens knows what the Ravens-Steelers series means. And honestly, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. It's going to be raining, wet, really wet potentially. I'm going with let's see. You know what? Let's go 16-13 Ravens over the Steelers. Then Saturday Night Football ain't nobody resting. However, Ryan Kelly, the center for the Colts, and Quentin Nelson, the left guard for the Colts, both were limited in practice on Friday. They are game time decisions heading into the game. Ryan Kelly's been walking in a boot most of the week. Quentin Nelson actually was hurt last week and played the entire game hurt. He was hurt on the first drive of the game, the touchdown run by Jonathan Taylor. So, with that being said, if I'm the Houston Texans, these are foot injuries. Now, I know you can tape up ankles, you can give that shot, I know they have these magical remedies. The reality is, if Ryan Kelly's at center and Quentin Nelson plays left guard, I'm putting Malik Collins straight over Nelson, and I am blitzing the gut of that offensive line. Excuse me. That's what I'm doing. Make them prove in the first 3 drives that they're healthy enough. Just run through them. It's exactly what I see. You take advantage of the mismatches. That's a mismatch. Defensively, the Colts do not have the secondary. Yes, Kenny Moore is back. I don't care. He's okay. He's not fast enough. Ronnie Harrison is not fast enough at safety for us. Let's just stop. The reality is, with all of this, the Texans are probably going to pull this one out. My guess is 31-20 Texans, but it doesn't even feel like the Colts were within 11. I'm guessing it feels like the Colts never had a shot. 31-20, Houston on the road against Indianapolis. All right, Atlanta and New Orleans. I don't know what to think of the Falcons. Potentially Arthur Smith is coaching for his job. That's the potential that we hear. What bothers me a little bit more is that Alvin Kamara is said to be out for this game. If Alvin Kamara is out, I am definitely going with the Falcons. Without Alvin Kamara, the Saints offense turns to absolute mush. And I think the Falcons defense, of which is much improved, they're going to be playing hard. If they win and the Panthers beat the Bucks, they win the division. It's not win and in by any stretch. It is not win and in. They need a little help. But reality is, it works. It gives them the motivation. It's a dome game. Falcons are a dome team. The road doesn't bother me in this situation because it's a dome. I don't think it's actually home field advantage, even though Louisiana is really loud. Taylor Heineke's a grown-up. Bijan Robinson's going to be running to try to get money because he's got a 1,000-yard rushing season that's on the line. I'm going with the Falcons on the upset, 24-23 Atlanta. All right, Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Browns are starting Jeff Driscoll. Now, I really want to take the Browns here. Just because, if nothing else, I want Kevin Stefanski to be the head coach that won with 5 different starting quarterbacks. If nothing else, just for that. The reality is the Bengals at home, they're going to be playing hard. They want to end it on a win. They're going to be above 500. They're going to be part of that muddled group. And it's going to be counted as a successful year when Joe Burrow went down. It will. It will be counted as a successful year. Bengals probably going to be wet, going to be rainy. Not really sure what the field's going to be. The Browns, Jeff Driscoll, I don't trust him, even with Kevin Stefanski. Wish I could, but I can't. I'm going 2013 Bengals over the Browns. All right, this next game is a question mark. Now, this is Saturday morning for me. I know you guys are getting the picks after the Ravens and Steelers game has already been played, because this morning I released the Coach Talk video that I actually did before the Week 18 preview video podcast. So right now, the Ravens and Steelers game has already been played, and Colts and Texans is probably starting, if not in the first quarter right now. So news may have changed by the time that this comes out, but as of Saturday morning, Trevor Lawrence is a game-time decision. And that hurts. The playoff lives are on the line. Now, there is a way where I could see this working out okay. And here's how. Start CJ Beathard, whatever you want to call him. Start him. Start CJ Beathard. And if it's just not working, put Lawrence in. But see if your defense, Ryan Tannehill is starting for Tennessee. See if your defense can first create the game that they did against Carolina. It's not going to be great weather. Derrick Henry's not really going to be able to run that well. I would see what the defense could do before you force Trevor Lawrence to play injured. It's going to be a lot of dump-off throws. Evan Ingram, Etienne, Dearness Johnson, Honestly, I do a lot of two-back, tight end, two receivers, shotgun sets, giving him so many options of dump-off throws and just beating them with yards after the catch. That's what I would do, though. The Jaguars have the AFC South crown on the line. They win. They're in the playoffs. AFC South champs. Titans want to play spoiler. I like the line is 3.5. If it stays 3.5, if you're betting, I'd bet the Titan line because I think this is going to be a field goal game. I'm going to go 2017 Jacksonville. All right, Buccaneers at the Panthers. Baker Mayfield is injured. How much? It's a rib injury, chest cavity injury, whatever. It's a rib injury. It's going to be nagging. If the Panther defense can get to him early and get a hit on him, it could really affect him. I think Carolina's hungry. I think they just got embarrassed last week and home to finish the season. I'm picking Carolina upset 23-21 Carolina. All right, the Jets at the Patriots. Listen, the reality is with this, the betting line is really close. Trevor Siemian versus Bailey Zappi. The Northeast is going to be ugly. It's going to be white. 9-6 Patriots. I'm not even going to play around with this one. 9-6 Patriots. Like, it's not even going to be, geez. Not many are going to be watching this game anyway. It's going to be worse. The team that wins is going to worsen their draft position. The team that loses is going to maintain or potentially better theirs. Like, this is only a draft position game. That's all this is. But I'm going with the Patriots 9-6 at home over the Jets. All right, Minnesota Vikings at Detroit Lions. Big game for the Lions, 31-10 Detroit's what I'm picking straight up. I think he rests his starters in the second half if he can come out and blow out Minnesota early. I really do. He's probably hoping, you know what, let's rest the starters in the second half, not get them hurt, keep the lead, do whatever he's got to do. That's kind of what I see happening here. It's really what I see happening. But I'm going with Detroit 31-10. All right, Cowboys at the Commanders. It is still a 13.5-point line. Listen, if it is raining like no other, the Cowboys don't have a running game. Like, I have to be honest. I don't get anybody that says, yeah, but the Cowboys have the advantage in the rain. How? How? The Cowboys haven't been able to run the ball all year in a dome. Why do you all of a sudden think that a rainy game, the offensive line is going to be able to push around another team? Why do you think Tony Pollard's all of a sudden going to become a number one stat back? Listen, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Watch for the upset here. I'm going to pick the Cowboys. 2016 Cowboys. I think the Commanders kick a lot of field goals when they need touchdowns. The game is a lot closer than people think. It's wet. It's rainy. I think field goal game is going to be huge. I'll go 2016 Cowboys, but it will not shock me if the Commanders pull the upset. Just because of the weather, it's in Washington, Ron Rivera's final game, players have pride. And they at least want to go into the offseason feeling a little bit good about themselves. All right, Seattle at Arizona. This is one I don't understand. Seattle's favored by 3 points. I think it should be 1.5, maybe. I got Arizona. Kyler Murray at home in a dome. James Conner, they just beat Philadelphia. Seattle's reeling. Their defense all of a sudden has lost its way. It seems to be a recurring theme with Pete Carroll. Not going to lie. End of the year, the defense all of a sudden falls off a cliff. That's Pete's specialty. I got Arizona winning. I got them winning big, 27-17. 27-17 Arizona. All right, Rams and Niners. Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold. I don't know how to pick this game. I don't know how to pick this game. And the reason I don't know how to pick this game is because the Rams are resting so many people. I think, or I believe, the Niners are not. I know who the Niners are resting, but I believe the Niners are not resting as many as the Rams are. So when it comes down to it, the pick should be the 49ers at home, Sam Darnold. But do not be surprised if Carson Wentz and Sean McVay pull a upset out of the absolute magical blue air. And it's going to be just because. And people are going to put an asterisk next to this game and be like, it wasn't the main guys. And I will fully agree with them. I think this game could be really fun to watch. I do. I think it's going to be a lot of trickery. I think they're going to have fun. Yes, these coaches, I think, will have fun in this game. They're going to kind of play around, see what may be there, potentially put some new plays, some nuances, some tricks on tape so they have it. But I'm going with the Niners in the end, 24-20. So we're going San Fran at the end, 24-20. All right, Philadelphia at the Giants. I'm picking the G-Men. I am absolutely picking the G-Men. 100%. Know why? Simple. The Giants have exactly what it takes to beat the Eagles. A quarterback that will not turn the ball over, Tyrod Taylor. They're hungry after getting beat, but almost coming back in Philadelphia. To me, this is a prime example of a reeling team heading into the playoffs, just like the Steelers were a couple years ago. They're not. I really think the Eagles could be one and done. I got a couple thoughts after we get done with the picks here because I really, I don't know. There's something wrong in Philly. But I'm going Giants in a doggone ugly game. 19-17 over the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, Broncos and Raiders. We're not going to belabor this one. I think this is really straight up. 2017 Raiders at home over the Broncos. Chiefs with Blaine Gabbert against the Chargers. I think the Chargers have enough self-respect. They've got enough playmakers. They got a good defense. And the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes, with receivers that still can't catch, and all the players that are out, oh, screw it. We're going Chargers 17-9. Yes, you heard me right. 17-9. I don't see how the Chiefs score a touchdown this weekend. All right, next game, we got Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo and Miami. I got Buffalo. I got Buffalo being the bigger team. I got Buffalo being the team that everybody thinks they are. Excuse me. It's more that I have Buffalo just being tougher than Miami. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else is going into this, except I believe Buffalo is tougher. I think they're more tested. I think after a team that just hasn't been playing great in Miami, they barely beat the Cowboys, and then they got roasted by the Ravens. Most times I would say well-coached teams bounce back. Hey, they're well-coached. Waddle and Hill have the potential foot injuries, Tua potential injury, but I think the Bradley Chubb ACL takes away the pass rusher that they needed to stop Josh Allen. That's actually where I'm going with it. Buffalo wins 34-23 over Miami on Sunday Night Football to win the AFC East crown. Now, I saved this one for last. Chicago and Green Bay. Why did I save it for last? Well, my dad's side of the family is from northern Indiana. And then there is another side of that family that is from Milwaukee. So every year we would get together at my grandmother's house for a raking party. She had, I believe, 11 acres that were lined with trees, had some trees in the yard. Gorgeous property. And we would go up there for a raking party. Basically, it was a ginormous bonfire and a one-day raking fest where we would burn leaves, get all the leaves, have fun, have a huge, ginormous cookout, and hang out as an absolutely huge family of no less than 60 to 75 people. It was awesome. It was a Saturday and Sunday event. Well, on Saturday, we do all the raking, and on Sunday, it always seemed that the weekend was the weekend where the Bears played the Packers. Back then, we were talking about early on in my life, these are the Brett Favre days, the early days. I remember those games. I remember the family arguments over this game. I know Dallas and Philly and Dallas and the Giants. I know the Patriots and Jets. I know there's a little bit with, some of the teams in the South with the Falcons, the Saints, the Seahawks and Niners, the Rams and the Niners now. Nothing beats the Steelers and Ravens. The professionalism and business side of that rivalry is amazing. But this rivalry between the Packers and Bears is a unique rivalry. It has produced a lot of great games. It's produced a lot of NFC Championship teams. It's produced Super Bowl champs. The reality is, this game is fun. And I said this in the Week 18 preview. I said this in the last podcast. I hope Field stays and Love stays and they continue to improve and they can have a rivalry. Kids need somebody to go after nowadays. Mahomes and Josh Allen, all of us, well, if you're not a Kansas City fan, most of us agree that Mahomes was an idiot after the game when congratulating Josh Allen on the Bills beating the Chiefs, no matter what the outcome was. Kids need competition to be able to thrive in the environment they're in. And in this instance, I think it's great for Jordan Love and Justin Fields to be a part of it. This game, to me, is going to come down to the coaching and the coordinators. And why do I say that? Well, it's kind of simple. Rick Barry has been bad. The Packer defense has been horrible. Justin Fields has been doing a lot more running. Not really sure what the weather is going to be in Green Bay. But I'll tell you what, I think the game's going to be fun. I absolutely think that the game is worth watching. And I think Chicago ekes this one out 19-17. That is my guess. So there are all 16 games. In this scenario, the week 1 matchups in the playoffs, the Rams would be at the Detroit Lions. The Eagles would be at the Atlanta Falcons. The Seattle Seahawks would be at the Dallas Cowboys. Then on the AFC side, you would have the Browns at the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Houston Texans at the Buffalo Bills. If everything plays out the way I just said, those are your matchups. Those work. Those work. Now, let's talk about a couple things before we close this out. There could be, and I've said this in Coach Talk, and we're inching closer. There was a report today that is out of New England. Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are going to meet on Monday. The meeting is on the calendar. The meeting's set. Meaning it's taking place win, lose, tie. That meeting is going to take place on Monday. So, what team could you see a coach getting fired from that's, quote unquote, a shocker? This is why I brought up Philadelphia. You guys do know what they've done, right, since Andy Reid? You guys do know how that organization has, played head coaches, right? Andy Reid, time and time and time and time and time again, making the NFC Championship game. It's not good enough, really. I think Andy Reid would have eventually won another Super Bowl for you, just like Doug Peterson did. Philadelphia has never had a issue getting free agents. Moving on from coaches. There's a couple shockers that I could see happening. Number one, Andy Reid retires from football. Now, do I think it's probable? Do I want to see it happen is going to be the question some of you ask. No. But at what point does it just become a drain? He's got the success. He's got no questions being asked of him. He's good. So, what more does he need? And what does he want to do? So, there's one for you. Another one, what if Nick Sirianni loses to the Giants and then loses the wild card game at the, let's just say off of the, what I just did for picks, loses at Atlanta or Tampa Bay? A wild card exit for this team now. Listen, he's an offensive coach, and he's got Jalen Hurts. He's got a defensive line that is the same style defensive line that Ron Rivera started with in Washington. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne. Philly has that defensive line. They should be winning. Winning in the NFL is hard, and I understand that. I'm not calling for him to get fired. What I'm saying is, would it really shock you if Philadelphia made another move like that? Come on. Be honest. Would it shock you? I don't think it would. I don't think it would. What about, and this will be the last one, an out of the blue firing? What if Sean McDermott loses to Miami, Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, Denver beats the Raiders, and Jacksonville loses to Tennessee? The Bills are out of the playoffs. Sean McDermott. I know the team comes out in full support of Coach McDermott, but the reality is your defense couldn't stop the Patriots. They held down the road Cowboys, but they almost let the nobody Chargers come back and win. Do we need somebody else? So those three are there for you. Shockers, surprises that we wouldn't expect, but that could be there. It's going to be a wild Sunday. I'm sure the Raven and Steeler game was already awesome. I know the Texans and Colt game is going on right now. There is all 16 of the picks for this week. And I can't wait to see what happens on Monday. Tuesday's afternoon podcast will be exciting. We'll know what the playoff matchups are. We'll have the schedule. And we'll be talking about who got fired and what the future holds for certain teams. Draft order will be done. Everything will be set because the 2023 season, the regular season, will officially be over. Guys, I can't thank you enough for listening. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're on Spotify, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. We got a huge offseason coming up. This is one of the best draft classes from top to bottom we've had in the last 5 years easily. It's loaded. There's people all the way through. Receivers, backs, offensive line, defensive line. It's going to be interesting. And I can't wait to go through it all with you. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Football Talk with Hawk. Have fun in Week 18. Enjoy the day. I'm Hawk, and I'm out.